Hey everybody, welcome to the Fire It Up with CJ show. Today we have my dear friend Jon Bernie, and I wanted to have him on because he's such a beautiful spiritual teacher, and his focus is on about self-healing and also spiritual awakening, which at times like this it seems to be a wonderful thing for us to practice during these challenging times. And one of the things that I enjoy most about Jon, working with him both personally and going to a lot of his online satsangs that he has, is that he's really able to attune to what's happening for people and what needs to be healed. So I wanted to ask you what you're picking up right now since there's just so much chaos. And by the way, thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm so glad to be able to be here, CJ, with you, and I'm so glad you're well, and it's really good to see you. This is an incredibly difficult time for everyone on the planet, and in a way that we have never faced before, as far as I know. I mean, I suppose in various ways people have gone through extreme circumstances. You know, we all have, most of us in one way or another, but on a worldwide scale, it's pretty unprecedented, and I think one of the main things right now is just um, the insecurities that are coming up around the unknown of the future in so many ways we just can't know.
Hmm.
So we're faced with how to take care of ourselves, how to stay healthy, God willing, so to speak, how to stay safe, how to protect our loved ones and take care of them, um, how to manage with our work and our finances and so forth, just even getting basic supplies for survival, food, medicine, whatever else we need, care. These are all things that are of great concern because on a fundamental level as human beings, we are programmed to survive. And survival is absolutely foreground right now.
Mm-hmm.
And in the survival activation, there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of insecurity. And often what happens when people are having that is they can go into different ways. They can go into hyperdrive, like just get super amped and just super busy and get everything together and really get in touch with a kind of almost warrior spirit. Other people can become almost in shock, where it's almost paralyzing, where they just sort of in a daze or very, very disoriented because we're all incredibly disoriented. I just had to cancel my yearly Hawaiian retreat, and it was incredibly challenging, and it will be for some time to deal with all of the logistics and money and people and everything that, there's just so many ramifications constantly. So I think one of the most important things that we're learning and what I have to offer and what I work within myself and can offer to others is number one, take care of what you have to take care of, whatever it is. And then learn how to self-regulate your state of mind, your emotional states, so that you can begin to have to become more sensitive to what you're feeling, what you're going through, what you need to express so you can release those anxieties, those fears, those great grief and sadness, all of it. And then as many of my students have been communicating with me that they're also finding when they're allowing the process of their human energetic reactivity, natural reactivity of the situation on all the levels it happens, when that can actually be allowed to be expressed and moved, that they're finding much deeper levels of peace and equanimity. So ironically, this extraordinary catastrophe that we're facing and devastating times can also be a catalyst for deepening one's own inner peace and well-being, strangely. It's not something you can make happen, but it's something that you can begin to become sensitive to how that works. I know in these online events that I'm offering now every week, we're doing them on Saturday from 11 to 1 on Pacific Standard Time, getting people from all over the world attending, that I'm getting feedback that they're incredibly, incredibly helpful. So I think the more we can take care of what you have to take care of, and then take time to really just stop, unplug, not just be distracted, not just do happy things, because some people are doing that. Like, I'm just going to do art projects, or I'm going to listen to music and play games and do fun things to get my mind off. Well, you want to be careful that whatever you're doing to get your mind off isn't, moving you away from the natural healing process that needs to happen on an emotional level. Otherwise, it starts to build up like plaque. You start to get emotionally impacted, constipated in a way. And that you need to have time to discharge. So it's really helpful to have periods of quiet, whether you're just lying down still and you're not interacting, you're not looking at your phone, you're not reading the news, where you just unplug, disengage, and tune in deeply. And even maybe what you'll find, and other people I'm hearing are just needing to nap, needing to sleep, or exhausted, absolutely exhausted. So listen to yourself. This is an opportunity to listen to yourself and others more carefully, and to be here for each other. We have never needed each other more than we do now, I think. And we really begin to find out what's really important. Go ahead.
So you're talking about the discharge. Tell me a little bit about what are you discharging? The stress, the
Everything.
anxiety? Yeah.
Everything. You don't know what it's going to be. It's not like you look for it ahead of time. It's more that you don't want to override it with just survival movement, because it's very easy to get into survival and to basically be shut down and kind of unconscious of those needs. It's just like, in a way, it's like being in battle, fight or flight. When you're in fight or flight, you're not sitting around meditating, counting your breath.
Mm-hmm.
You're not tuning in that way. You're managing. You're getting what needs to get done.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get it done, make sure there's some time where you're just not problem solving and managing constantly, or stressing yourself out with endless, overwhelming news that's really, it's overwhelming. And I
So,
think, yeah, go ahead.
so I think that that's hard because, us who like to be in denial, we like our shopping lists, and we like to be, I'm kind of in shock, disoriented, hyperdrive, and denial. I haven't gotten into, and those are, I think, are I'll call categorized as the fight response. The freeze, which I've also seen and I've also experienced, is kind of, I just slept for a period of time. I'm like, I can't, this is overwhelming,
I
and
Yeah,
I can't watch news. I just freeze. So I think
right.
that it's fight, flight, freeze, and the other one for women is they attend. So they actually help other people, and so they're
And
basically,
and
yeah,
and also men who are like me, who are very nurturing types of men, because there's plenty of those men out there too.
yeah.
And I think that um, um, this is a time where we're learning to have a more conscious relationship with ourselves and our own process, and to really listen into what's going on rather than to try to figure out what someone else is doing and do that. I would say rather, and this is really a lot of the essence of my work, is instead of trying to follow someone else's process, this is a time to really find out what your process is, and to learn how it's teaching you what you need on a deep level. Because our bodies, the reason we're having these experiences, emotions, and so forth, is that's a communication of our organism communicating with us that it's afraid. It's okay to be afraid. It's understandable. We feel vulnerable. We feel helpless. We feel clueless. We don't know what's going to happen. So there are these unknowns that are natural, that can be very, very anxiety producing. A dear friend of mine called me and said he had a full-blown anxiety attack recently, and he's not prone to these things. So this is where we have to be available for what's arising in us, because we don't know what's next.
Mm.
I mean, reality is always like this in a sense, but this is creating a kind of world mindset that is in it's just super turned up and amplified. So this is when that's happening, and you can feel it. I can feel it deeply. There's a kind of there's a consciousness on the planet right now that is basically seriously stressed out. It just is. And so the more we can contribute to the healing in ourselves, the more we'll help ourselves, And it will also help our immunity and our stress. When you can begin to self-regulate in this way and start to listen in a way and respond in a way that can allow a calming of the nervous system and a slowing down of breath, a slowing down of agitation in the body, we actually not only improve our chances of staying well, but if we get something, of fighting it off when we need to. And it also makes us much more capable of being available to those we love and those we are responsible for around us, who need our full attention. So this is an extraordinarily challenge and a learning experience for all of us, I think. And it's hard. I think it's also important to be very forgiving to oneself and very patient with oneself and very compassionate towards oneself and others, because this is hard. And I think, okay, so if you go into denial, you go into denial. Okay, that's okay. You see whatever you do. And instead of judging and saying, oh, I should be more accepting or I should be more open, just be how you are and learn to listen to it in a way where that natural attention to being shut down will begin to show you where in your own nervous system there are holding patterns that you're normally not even conscious of.
All right, so we've been talking to Jon Bernie, and you can find him on Jon, Jon, Bernie, BERNIE.org.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show and would love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.